All right, welcome guys to the ETR podcast. Today is episode 21.
Yeah.
I'll start by apologising for my audio before we went ahead and got ready for this this little fucking podcast. My microphone decided to shit itself, so we'll still have Jane's brilliant crisp audio, but you just have to put up with the camera audio for mine. So hopefully it's not too bad.
Bit of editing should be
But
right.
Oh, hopefully so, mate.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had to use it before when the cameras or when the fucking microphones have shit themselves. So, alrighty. So, something that popped up recently as I was doing my weekly scroll on Facebook, because if you follow the show, you know how much I fucking hate social media. It popped up on the Perth Music Network. Something that became very political in the comments. So I'll read you what it said, and we'll go from there. Unnamed person, because I'm not going to put their names and shit. A bloke simply asked, if you're going to the Invasion Day rally on the 26th and in a band or have a music related business or job, hit me up. Want to make a video and need others to jump in on it. So him saying that, of course, things in the comments got very heated and very political. And yeah, the usual shit. Oh, you're a snowflake. Oh, just change the date. Fuck you, everything else. What people didn't seem to realise was this poor bloke wasn't actually trying to be political. He was actually, the name of the rally he was going to was called Invasion Day Rally, and he was simply asking for people to be in a video. So then that brought up other comments and shit of people saying stuff like, keep your politics out of music, and politics have nothing to do with music, and fucking they have no place in music, fucking etc. So I was chatting to Gene about it, and we thought that might be a good topic to cover. Do politics have a place in music? And I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are about it. I'm sure you can tell us in a minute, but the way I see it is, I don't give a fuck what it is, if it's fucking politics or religion or fucking sexual preferences, fucking veganism, whatever. You do you. I couldn't give a fuck. If you're into any of that stuff, you do you. As long as you're not trying to force it on me, I couldn't care. And yeah, that's another reason why I don't go on social media, because then shit like this happens and it's all turns to shit real quick. What are your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, pretty much the same. I think we touched on this briefly on an earlier episode last year, very briefly, but I just think that the entertainment industry as a whole, whether you're a local band or a headlining international act, and then for me, it even extends full entertainment. So anything that's like TV shows, music, movies, all that sort of stuff. If you go back a couple of 100 years, all these people were essentially just jesters, who would get behead if they weren't funny enough, or all that sort of shit, So it just happens to be society these days. They get paid a lot and they're idolised for some reason. And I don't really know why. But just local bands and everything, I still think it should be the same. Like if you're in a band, jeez.
Fucking, that was the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're in a band, don't bring politics into it. People often, and this can kind of be a discussion in this as well, I suppose. People who say, oh, this band, this music got me through my teenage years or my childhood or some tough times. That's cool because that's just life experience. But when it becomes just politics, it's bullshit. I don't think it has a place. I think people who find inspirational help from music, that's good. But then you get people like me who watch movies and listen to music and go to gigs just to escape all the bullshit of everyday life. I mean, there's enough politics in everyone's workspace, whether it's politics at the job you have in that company, or if there's people who you work with who follow politics closely and all they want to do is talk about it. It can be a bit annoying sometimes. Even if you're into politics, I'm sure you want a break. So your break should be that entertainment, whatever you choose it to be. So if that's music, movies, going to like a stage play or a theatre or something, or going to a like the Perth Royal Show or something like that, you guarantee there's going to be some sort of politic there. And it's not always people like even talking about it and trying to have an open discussion. A lot of the politics issue these days is just people taking the piss out of each other. So that can bring down the whole thing. And you look at when everyone's favourite president, Donald Trump, was in office back in 2016 when he got voted in. You know, all celebrities came out and spoke out against it. Like, well, what he's trying to do isn't going to affect your lives, and your work doesn't really affect anyone else, and you can't relate to the average Joe. So why are you complaining? You know, they're in a completely different status of life, all these celebrities, and then you get people like Eminem, who came out and said something like, "Oh, if you support Trump, then you're not my fan." All that sort of shit. It's like, well,
there was a few metal bands that done shit like that too.
Yeah, like Machine Head done that, and that was a big one when last year when all the riots were happening. He was like, "Yeah, get Trump out of office, and yeah, Black Lives Matter, and rally, and riot, and all that sort of rubbish."
Rob Flynn, you're talking about, yeah?
Yeah, old mate Flinny. And then it's just all the bullshit that they crap on about. And then they align themselves with a political party, and then when that political party tells the average Joe to, like COVID is the best example, they come out and say, "Oh, we're all in this together." It's like, well, hang on, cunt, you didn't lose your job. You're not chasing money right now to pay your rent, to pay for food. You've got royalty checks coming in still. You've still got some form of income. You know, you've got money in the bank from all these tours you've just done. We're not in the same world as what these celebrities are, and that's the thing that pisses me off most. They all try and say, "Hey, we all need to come together and do all this bullshit," and then you got, even here in Australia, it happens all the time. I'm not going to say what subjects it on because I do not want to be get labelled as whatever.
You don't want to start a political war.
I don't want to start a political war. I don't want people coming on saying we're racist. I don't want anything but...
Oh, will you stop, dog? For fuck's sake.
You just get like even all the celebrities, they get on their high horse and talk about how the Australian public need to do more in this section of Australia, and the reality is they're not doing any more than what we're doing, and they're the ones that have the means to do it, you know. And they basically preach down to people rather than lead by example. Even you look at some bands are huge with doing like telethon shows and raising money and all that sort of shit. But at the end of the day, they're just giving up a few guitar strings, drum heads, and maybe an hour of their time. And they've got to pay their technicians a couple of hours. But they're asking the average Joe who earns fuck all to give them money. So, well, why don't you just donate $1 million? Or do like 3 or 4 shows and then put all those proceeds into it rather than... You know what I mean? It's just like they can afford to do it, whereas the average person most likely can't. Not everyone's on a good wicket in life.
Yeah.
And that's what bugs me. I listen to music just to escape it. I stopped listening to a lot of Slipknot years ago. If I'm going to listen to bands like that, I listened to their old stuff when it wasn't so political. I'd stop listening to Stone Sour because of the same thing.
How you said about Rob Flynn. Corey Taylor's another big one who jumps on the old social influencer fucking side of things.
Absolutely.
Where he shouts out his own political views. But I want to take it back real quick because I'm glad you were talking because you got the good microphone. But back when a few of the things were stuff like where it said politics have no place in music, that then made me think, well, if there wasn't, we wouldn't have bands like Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, Sepultura to a certain degree, and then like other people that you listen to like NWA, shit like that. They were all very, very political. All the old punk bands like fucking Black Flag and Dead Kennedys and shit like that. They're all very political. So in a sense, yes, I don't want it pushed on me, but at the same time, I still listen to shit like Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down.
I
choose not to take the political side of it and be offended or be like, yes, I'm with you or I'm against you. I just see it as music. So in that sense, politics in that way is you can get into it as much as you choose to.
It's bearable.
A bit like being offended. If you want to be offended, you fucking will be.
Yeah, you'll find something. No, I agree with that. When you brought this topic up earlier, I was thinking, yeah, no, that's cool. And I was thinking, fuck, Rage Against the Machine is possibly the most politicised rock band ever. But at the same time, again, I listen to that music, but you got to look at it from the point of view. They're not doing interviews and saying, if you're a capitalist, then you can't listen to our music. You're not our fan. They're not.
Mm.
They're not ripping the shit out of the people who have bought their music that allowed them to be in the position they are to sing and write the songs that they're doing. As whereas you get modern day bands, and I say modern probably like in the last 10 years, who have all jumped on this political bandwagon, and it's more prominent now ever since the 2016 US election when Trump got voted in.
Yep.
And it's to the point now, even actors, like I used to love certain characters of certain movies, and I've just gone off certain like franchises of movies that I grew up with, just because of the way the actors who were young back then, who are older now, the way they've acted on social media.
Yeah.
There's no good fun content to follow. It's all political now. I didn't follow a lot of people on social media for political stuff, or really even to get an insight to the way their brain works or what they believe in. It's really just to be more up to date with any movies or music they are doing, so you can catch up to it, because a lot of everything is on social media now. But unfortunately, the advertising aspect of social media, where people could say, I've got this gig, I've got this movie coming out, or I'm playing this character in this movie, is now no longer. And it's all, if you don't vote for this person, blah, blah, blah. If you vote for this person, blah, blah, blah. And fucking they're just taking the piss out of everyone. And I think one day it would be fantastic if there was a lot of blowback for these celebrities. It really would be. I don't wish bad or negative on anyone, but at the same time, people need to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
So I'm all for songs, like especially System of a Down, Rage Against the Machine, all that sort of stuff, because they've actually got a relatively good message to get through, and a lot of their politics aren't all for the fuck of it. Old white man good, orange man bad. You know, that's not what they're singing about. They're actually singing about real life, and they're trying to get a real life message. It's not just orange man bad. If you voted for him, then fuck you. You're not my fan, or you can't.
Well,
follow
and
me.
like I mentioned the punk bands and shit earlier.
Yeah.
Their side of politics were more anti-establishment and shit.
Yeah. And
you know, and
but
it's
even
like,
then, you look
even
at
back in the day, you had like fucking people like Bob Dylan. He was so political. There were certain songs of his and shit that actually got banned from radio play.
Yeah.
So, not that I listen to radio these days, so I don't know if that shit still goes on.
Yeah.
But
it's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can push a message.
Yeah, it's still going on, but the message is getting banned now. From like your big tech companies is like in the States more so. If you're not a Democrat, then fuck you. That's what's happening over there. So there's a lot of censorship happening over there. Fortunately, here in Australia, we don't have that, which is fantastic. But just to bring it back onto the Australian thing, when that's why I want to see that post that you found. I was hoping you'd send it through. But when it comes to like just even local bands, like, just watch what you're doing.
Well, yeah, that's a...
be careful about it.
I'll send it through to you, and if anyone wants to have a look at it, like I said, I'm not going to mention names of people who are in it, but you can check out Perth Music Network on Facebook, if it's even still up, if admin hasn't deleted or whatever. But you mentioned about local Perth bands, watch what you're doing. When we went to that Retrobite gig, there were some young girls there. One of them was wearing a swastika on her little jacket thing.
Yeah.
And I actually had people who I won't mention their names or whatever ask me after the gig. They're like, oh, do you know who they were there to see? Because that really upset some promoters. And that got me thinking too, like, they weren't regular people we'd see at gigs. I assume they were just a crew that was hanging out there, because there was all different sorts of people there that night.
Yeah, that was
a lot of
mixed
people
batch.
who I hadn't seen at other gigs.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that they might have been the local crowd, or maybe the girls just got dressed up, decided to go out for the night, whatever. And it's a shame to think that stuff like that, if someone turned around and said, oh, they were there to see this band, even if they had no association with that band at all, due to the whole politics of it all, that band would then potentially miss out on future gigs through certain promoters.
Yeah.
Because they were seen as, all right, they're Nazis or Nazi sympathisers, whatever. Because that's why, like you mentioned the other day when we were chatting about something different, Metal Sucks, the company or brand, whatever the fuck they want to be classed as, they're bad for it. That's why I fucking don't read any of their shit. Because they seem to, once they've got a certain thing out for someone, usually black metal bands or whoever else, they will use then their power of social media force and everything else to then fucking pretty much bully and irate certain bands, like it happened to Watain, because they decided that one of their members threw up a Zig Heil during a show, and there was a photo of him Zig Heiling or some shit, so they got well onto that with the political side of things, going, they're Nazis, they're racists, everything else, they're white power, we have to ban this band, we have to all back each other and get rid of this band. And it got to the point where this bloke actually fucking got sacked from Watain to save all the bullshit and drama so they could still tour and still play shows. Which, hey, who knows? The bloke might have been a fucking Nazi or sympathiser. Who fucking knows? That's not for me to decide. But then they didn't seem to have a problem with it when people like Metallica in photos actually Zig Heiling and doing shit like that. It doesn't bother them then, but because they want to jump on the smaller bands, like the black metal bands especially, they bring their politics into it and people miss out on shows and people get sacked.
Yeah.
And like I said, maybe the bloke was a Nazi. That's not for me to decide. I don't know the guy personally, so I'm not going to fucking judge on that. And, yeah.
So who was it? The drummer?
No, the guitarist.
The guitarist. So what did he do? He threw his
Yeah,
hand in the air.
Yeah, there was...
and probably holding a pick, no doubt, or something.
No, there was a photo of him all posing and he had his arm in the air then. So they went, yep, he's Zig Heiling in that photo. And then it was, they were either coming on stage or coming off stage, whichever it was, and he threw his arm up in the air. It could have been him waving, could have been anything, but they've then turned around and said, nah, he's definitely Zig Heiling, brought the political side into it, and it all got blown out of the water. The bloke got fucking sacked, because he was also the guitarist in Dissection at one stage.
Yeah, okay.
Which is another band I have to show you that you should sit down and listen to. But yeah, so that's in that side of things. Back to that question that I asked in the first place: does politics have a place in music? In that sort of sense, where certain big name people or people who have the following bring it into it, I don't think it should. But if it's just them expressing their art and they want to express their art by being political, trying to share a message, fucking go for it. Don't sit back and be a social justice fucking cocksucker and go, oh, I was having a bad day today, so let's single out this particular group of people and fucking give them a hard time through politics. Like, keep your beliefs to yourself, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
this is probably making no sense. I don't fucking know if it's making sense or not.
That's right. It does. It's just what I was saying earlier. Like, I watch movies because it's entertaining. I don't watch movies like... the biggest movie recently that's really fucked up was Star Wars, The Last Jedi, which was the second movie they made for the last lot of sequels.
Are you going to drop any spoilers here?
Just
Spoiler warning, people, if you haven't watched it, just in case.
Just don't watch it.
Because I don't know
it's
what
easy as that. Like, there's and I get the femininity. Like, there's a lot of... We need more strong women characters, and I'm all for that. But if you look back through history, there's plenty of movies with strong women characters that just never got acknowledged for it, which is fucking shit. Like the Aliens franchise, the first 4 movies is one strong female character. Sigourney Weaver just runs around fucking like shit up.
Tomb Raider and fucking Resident Evil. Yeah. Fucking shit like that.
Yeah, Bill. Yeah, but you look at Aliens, and that's from the 70s, late 70s, the first one. But just back on point, like the new one, there was just so much of that strong female just literally thrown down the throats of anyone watching that. And then you've got the animal rights where another aspiring strong female character goes and lets a bunch of weird space horses free from being held up at like a racetrack sort of thing, and just doing the right moral thing, and then it's just got so out of whack that it's not even... Like, Star Wars isn't even realistic anyway. Like, everyone knows that. It's a complete fiction. But then when you look at what Star Wars was and what Disney done to it, it's like it's their propaganda to bring kids up, to teach kids this is how the world needs to be. We need more of this. We need more of this. Rather than just being Star Wars. They've turned it into and I hate to use the word propaganda, but at the end of the day, it's kids that are watching these ones. Like most grown Star Wars fans can say the last 3 movies were pretty shit. They weren't great.
I'll be honest, I haven't seen them.
And don't
I'm not a Star
Don't-
Wars fan in general.
don't even bother. Even if the kids want to watch it, watch the prequels if you have to, but then watch the main trilogy, like episode 4, 5, and 6, and
I
that's it.
think
Cut it off.
the last episode of Star Wars I watched was probably episode 1
Yeah,
with fucking old Anakin flying around in his little fucking whatever the fuck that thing
Pod
was.
Racer. Yeah, but just
I think that's the last, and that was out what 10 or more years ago, 20 years ago. Fuck knows.
fuck man, it was like
That's probably the last Star Wars I actually saw.
7 or 98, I think. But the point is, like, don't waste your time because there's all Disney's
Yep.
done is just had people who write the script with nothing but political correctness all the way through it. That's all it is. Like when they made the Han Solo movie, for example, they got so political, they turned around and said, because it's like Han Solo when he was younger. So then they've got Lando Calrissian when he was younger, and the story behind that was, on Twitter, one of the writers came out and said, "Oh, and by the way, Lando Calrissian is pansexual. He was in love with his robot." I'm like, what? What's that got to do with the story of Star Wars? Like, it has absolutely nothing to do with it. It wasn't in the movie.
Yep.
He just happened to come out on Twitter and people like arced up at him, and he basically just went on a rant saying, what snowflakes usually say. They just accused everyone of being like.
This is what happened with this conversation. Where this bloke simply asking, "Is anyone going to this particular rally?"
Yeah.
And that's why everyone started in the comments there. They brought up about change of the date. Oh yeah, you're trying to stir shit. You didn't have to be so political about your question. And this poor bloke was simply asking. That just happened to be the name of the event he was asking about.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to be political, but everyone jumped on it, and it caused a major argument throughout the chat, which to the point where the admin actually turned off commenting. But I saw a similar thing the other day with Rob Zombie. He put something on Instagram, something about his veganism. I can't remember exactly what it was. And it pretty much started a war in the comments, which from the initial thing he said, I can't remember exactly what it is, so I'm not even going to try to quote it. But whatever it is he said at the time, he was looking for a fight in the comments. And shit like that, it's like, there's no need for it, because it's just turning friends against friends.
Yeah.
Same with all this political shit.
So is it
It's
about
friends against friends, family members against family members.
about being vegan?
Yeah.
And that's
I'm
why
talking in general,
Oh.
the fucking political side of everything.
that's why I don't follow him anymore. I got so sick of it. Like, the thing with veganism is there's so many studies coming out now saying that in the long run it ain't good for you. Like if you're a vegan, you've got like a 20% more chance likely of breaking a bone than a meat eater. All that sort of stuff. Like there's a lot of shit coming out now, and that's why I don't follow, like on Instagram and especially Facebook. I follow fuck all on Facebook. I never go to it really, but then Instagram where I'm swiping through, if I see some shit that's just consistent, like the same person is just posting the same stuff, like they're trying to just like get people on their side, I just unfollow them because I don't even know why I scroll through Instagram. It's like a habit now, just addicted to technology. Which is why I might be going to a flip phone, but yeah, all that sort of shit. I unfollowed heaps of people like late last year, maybe 3/4 of the way through last year. I just went on there and I was following like maybe 600 or something different people or business accounts or whatever, and I just went and unfollowed fucking heaps, and I'm down to like under 200.
I noticed that actually because there's a lot of things that I follow because I had to follow them to see videos that you sent me through by them.
Yeah.
Then when I see funny shit and I go to send it back to you, it says this account's private and you've already unfollowed them all.
Yeah.
So half the shit that I follow on there is only because I had to follow it to see what funny shit you were sending through to me.
Yeah, and then it just went to shit.
Yeah. But yeah, that's why I don't do social media in general. I try to like go on weekly and to like post about what video we got for the week or whatever.
Mm.
And I do a quick scroll through a Facebook. If it's not on my wall at the time, I miss it. This thing that we've just been talking about just happened to pop up on my wall when I open it up. So that's why we thought we'd have a quick chat about it today. So we might even start to wrap it up there because, I don't know, if anyone's even watched it this far, they probably just think we're rambling, whinging cunts.
No, well, just to wrap it up, my thoughts is, doesn't matter where you're from, what you're doing. We'll touch on most of the Aussie bands here. just keep the political stuff out. Like,
Yeah.
if you're a political band, fantastic. But if you're a heavy metal band singing about fucking death and butchering someone's insides, don't come out and tell me how to vote or what to eat.
That's fair enough. So yeah, like I said at the start of this video, I couldn't care what you believe in. You do you. If it doesn't
Yeah,
affect
exactly.
me what you believe in. So yeah, I'm happy for you. But yeah, at the end of the day, the initial question: do politics have a place in music? Like I said, bands like Rage Against the Machine, they've proven that it does have a place in music.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's your choice whether you want to actually see the political side of it. You can either see that, or you can just enjoy the fucking good tunes that they write.
Yeah, exactly.
Not only them, any other band, even Alien Weaponry to a point, get a bit political, but they're trying to bring up things about the past with their heritage and shit.
Yeah.
Same as I suppose Sepultura used to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, so at the end of the day, if it's there, if you're looking for it, you'll see it. I suppose is the best way to put it. If
Well-
you're looking for the politics in a song, you'll fucking see it. If you're not looking for them, you won't even realise. You'll just enjoy the tune.
And that's
So-
why I wish social media didn't exist, because the only reason, the biggest thing that really turned me off Slipknot and Stone Sour was all the bullshit that the band members were saying in interviews that was most likely I'd seen it on YouTube or Facebook or read an article or something like that. You know what I mean? Otherwise,
Yep.
if I was just listening to music and didn't give a shit about the music industry and never watched an interview or read an article, and I might have my head in the sand the entire time and just listened to the albums, I probably wouldn't have noticed.
Yep.
But there's a lot of bands I just don't listen to anymore just because of that. I'm so sick of them trying to shove their opinion down our throats. But yeah, if the music's good, get into it. Like, I still listen to Rage Against the Machine heaps. And I understood from like younger that they were a very political band. Like the lyrical content, the music is fucking
Yep.
outstanding. Like, and that's why they're as big as they are. If you could be a killer lyricist, you could write really good lyrics and actually have really good strong meaning and actually get through to someone. But at the end of the day, if the actual music content, the bass guitar, the drums and keyboards and guitars, whatever else you chuck in there, if that's rubbish and you've got untalented people, then those lyrics aren't going to have the same effect. So Rage Against the Machine have killed it with music from like day one, from back in the 90s, and they still do it now. There's no difference there. But if they're a shit band, as I said, they wouldn't be as big as they are. So the lyric content isn't what gets people in; it's the music. And I can go through an entire album of a metal album or a black album or whatever, and not understand a fucking word they're saying, and I'm happy with that. I don't, as I said to you previously on podcasts, I don't go looking for deep and meaningful shit in music, because if I did that with every fucking album I had, I'd probably be depressed. And I don't want to be depressed. I want to be
Fair
entertained.
enough.
That's all it is.
Alrighty. Alright, well, thanks to anyone that's watched us up to this point. If you want to get involved in this conversation, leave a comment down below. But at the same time, you probably shouldn't bother, because then the whole point of us talking about what we will probably just start a fucking political debate in our comment section anyway.
Probably just turn
We don't want
comments
that
off.
shit. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully some of this made sense. I've had about 3.5 hours sleep last night, so I don't even know if anything I said made sense. But hopefully so. So cheers, guys. Like, subscribe. You know the fucking deal. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers. Catches.